So the PlayStation 5 controller has been revealed. Um, just straight off the bat, to me, it looks great. Um, Brief story. When I first, okay, I was an Xbox fanboy for a little bit. Not gonna lie, I come from the 360 era, and I didn't get a PlayStation for a long time. When I first got my PlayStation, I wanted to play Zero Horizon Dawn, but Final Fantasy 15. I said, okay, I'll just get it when that comes out, and I did. I got a PS4 Pro. And I had played with the controller before, but having it in my hand like consistently, it took a little bit to get used to. You know, I know a lot of people that don't specifically like this controller. I'm not gonna lie. When I first held it, it felt like I was holding a baby turtle in my hand. It felt like I had a baby turtle in my hand. I didn't like the way it felt. The bottom grips, none of it until I started playing the games. Then of course, it felt good. Um, One of the games that I played the most that used it was the touchpad. Anyway, was Infamous. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. It was working accurately because normally when these different companies and stuff come out with these different controllers with gimmicks and stuff, they don't really work right, aka Nintendo. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, it took me a little getting used to, but now I actually love the thing. But to be honest with you, it still does not look good. Um, to me, I have the old one in my hand right now. There's a lot of sharp edges, you know. Now it doesn't hurt my hand though, like the Xbox does. The Xbox right trigger, playing the game for a long time, which is something I rarely do unless it's like a really good game like Final Fantasy right now. My hand will start hurting, but the PlayStation controller really doesn't. But it still doesn't look really sleek, really elegant. And then when they updated it and put the little light bar in the middle and stuff, it just kind of made it worse. But you know, overall, it still is a good controller. It just doesn't look good. But the PlayStation 5 controller, it actually, I can't wait to hold that. It looks really cool. Now, one thing that I don't like, um, and this is a nitpick, but more on like damage factor, is I like the white and black, but like controllers like that, I wouldn't even touch. I have a Zelda controller for Nintendo Switch. It's all gold. I don't even want to play with it because one drop and you scratch the paint, you scratch the color. You see, and that's what I'm saying with this. It's all white. Look, I have two kids and they play games. Probably will for the rest of their life, like me. And I've dropped in the controller probably a handful of times, right? A kid, actually, my son's done pretty good. They only dropped it a handful of times, also. But my point is, somebody drops that. Say not you, because you didn't spend what $650 on a console. You're not gonna drop it. If you do, it's gonna be like a small distance, and you're gonna hurry up and wipe it off. Oh my God, my baby. But somebody else might drop it or something, or scrape it, or you even might scrape it on accident, and then boom, what are you gonna go do? You're gonna go buy another controller because it's totally ruined. The whole shape, the design is ruined. So I think going with white is cool, but I wouldn't get white. I would get an all black one. But that's just me. But like it shows it Steam notification right there. Uh, it shows what the design of the PlayStation is going to look like. I think it's going to be really nice, especially if it's white and black. But again, I would get it in all black. I know some people didn't like the design of the Pro. I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. The Sony design that I did not like was the Sony Slim. I think the redesign of it. That thing was ugly. It was so ugly that I didn't even know because I went and bought a PlayStation 3 like it was years after the thing was out. I just wanted to play. I think it was Uncharted and some other games. And I had got the Slim, opened the box up. It was used. I'm like, dude, this is so ugly. I had taken it back and actually bought the original looking Slim from uh just a random person, a friend, and bought it, on those apps you can buy used stuff from. Because I didn't want the ugly console. That was an ugly console. But overall, I think the design is great. And some people call this ugly. Let me remind you. Anybody remember this? Now, this is compliments of Aries. Puddle, I forgot what he called his channel. Uh, Aries, he plays Tekken and some other games. He does a lot of streaming. He's really funny. Subscribe to the channel. I'll link it down below. But he had a Twitcher that had commented on the PlayStation controller, said it was ugly, and he had said to anybody remember the GameCube controller, and I thought to myself, yeah, does anybody remember that? I remember when this first came out, oh man, I had to have been like 16, 17. I bought my GameCube controller. I think this was the first console I ever bought straight up. Yeah, I think it was. But I remember looking at this controller, and I'm like, dude, this thing is ugly. And it still kind of is, but you know what makes this controller great? Is all the games that Nintendo had used it. All of them. Especially Smash Brothers. You cannot find one elite Smash Brothers player that is not using that controller. If you do, let me know. I've tried it. It doesn't feel good. It makes the game feel like a normal game or something. It just, I gotta have the GameCube controller in my hand. I have a friend that actually has to have the wired one. You know? The only thing I didn't like about this controller, though, to be honest, was the triggers. It felt weird at the time, and I don't think no game really ever utilized it. And now all these companies nowadays is kind of do the same tech, which brings me to kind of another point. Going to what the DualSense. The thing is, like, you have all these gimmicks and stuff. I hate saying them gimmicks, but I call them that because a lot of companies won't utilize all these different features. They won't. Like the rumble and everything else. They're going to use the rumble and the force feedback. And as soon as I mentioned force feedback with the DualSense, I thought of Aloy. I thought of Zero Horizon Dawn, the bow and arrow. They keep going back to that, right? They're racing games. Okay, cool. But those are all first-party games. Now, I do see a strong use for it with VR. Maybe they're going toward that, but I don't know. Like gamers and people who like play basic games, they don't really care about that. Honestly, they don't. All they care about is how it plays and the comfort, which brings me to another picture. Do y'all remember this? Now this thing would hurt your hand if you played too long. Oh man, I never forget track and field and scraping my nails over these two buttons to get the fastest time, But look at this design. Look how far we come. So before we hate on all these controllers, look at how far technology has come. And thank you to whoever this image is. I just went on the internet and popped up an image, but yeah. But I want to talk about this controller too, because see, another thing that was mentioned in one of the articles is that they pay attention to the design, which is great, because I never use this thing at all. Period. I don't like it. I can't play with controllers that's apart from each other. I gotta have a grip. Gotta have a feel. I know some people who do, who can play with the controller separate. It just feels icky to me. I don't know. It's a certain grip, a certain feeling I gotta have when I'm holding a controller. But they saying that's controller fitting in multiple hands, and that's another thing too. Again, going back to my kids, they can actually play with the PlayStation controller, but he can't. They use the GameCube controller primarily for like their games. My youngest can't play with the GameCube controller yet, probably because of how hard it is. Actually, because he can play with everything else. And he plays with this, so it's great for kids. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Who's going to be using the controller? That was a controller that came out, and it seemed, yeah, the Xbox controller, which I should have got a picture of. That controller was huge, even for me. I don't know what they was thinking with that big old controller, and then they redesigned it. But that controller was huge and awful. The buttons was in the wrong shape. How did that? I don't even know how that flew out the door. That was an awful controller. But the new one, the Xbox controller, is the gold standard. right? It truly is. I think it's one of the best controllers in the world. You know, a standard giving you a straight up controller. I think it's the best controller in the world. And going back to PlayStation though, this is the back of it, and or the side anyway. They're thinking about adding. Well, there's rumors that there might be back buttons. Which I mean, I had to wake up a little bit. I didn't know that was standard. I know they're on the Power A controllers, on the Pro controllers for the Switch. But that'd be a nice new addition. Just make sure they're smooth though. But yeah, man. To me, this controller looks great. You know, USB-C. You know, smoothness. You know, got that. You know, that classic texture feel that as soon as you buy a new controller, you feel that rubs off as you play. Yeah, and they changed this to the create button too, which is kind of cool, and it looks less tackier. You know what? It doesn't look really tacky at all. You know, that might be why they went with the white, and the touch bar fits in nice now. Now it looks nice. You know, it has that color, and color is very important. I know I'm talking about my kids in this video a lot, but like my youngest loves the color. Like he rages out if player two isn't red and stuff. If it's his color, so this is important. And I don't know how deep they're gonna go with it, but some nice little RBG would be great. And I just updated my computer uh, this year. I didn't know there was a huge rage on like different features of RGB. I did not know. Game changed color now with RGB. You know, like Division, it'd turn orange and white. Final Fantasy, it turned blue and white. You know, it's pretty cool. So it'd be nice if they did something in here, or had like some color flashes or anything. I don't know if any companies like used like color flashing or anything like to like signifying gunfire or something like that. And it also has a built-in microphone too, which is pretty cool. It'd be nice if you can use that for games though. Like, say you had an AI that you can actually talk to um, in VR or something like that. Give commands out, and then to tell you what to do. I mean, we can already do it with the console, right? Not that the Xbox worked it perfect because it didn't. You have to yell at the thing 100,000 times. But yeah. So probably a $70 controller. Don't break it. But it looks nice to me. Second gold standard to the Xbox controller in my book. Oh yeah, can't work.